Thank you for staying with us. The deplorable state of roads and inadequate rail connection has made air travel become the only viable option for Nigerians. However, skyrocketing airfares have made it unaffordable for many, with one-way tickets reaching an all-time high of nearly 250,000 naira to some destinations. Air travel is now a luxury only a few can afford. As the Yuletide season approaches, airfares to popular destinations in the southeast and south-south are expected to skyrocket further, reaching as high as 400,000 naira to 500,000 naira for one-way economy ticket. Investigations reveal a significant decline in passenger traffic over the last 6 months, attributed to general cash squeeze, hiking airfares, and low purchasing power of Nigerians. To discuss this pressing issue, we're joined by former General Manager, Public Affairs, Nigeria Airspace Management Agency, NAMA, and publisher of Air Transport Quarterly magazine, Shukwo Atobatele. Good morning. It's good to have you join us.
Good morning. How are you doing over there?
Very well, thank you. It's good to see you this morning. Now, like we rightly pointed out, air transport is becoming a luxury an average Nigerian can no longer afford. In recent times, we have seen a staggering increase in the price of the fares. Talk to us from your perspective as an expert. What really is going on behind the scenes that an average Nigerian does not understand, such that they can now see the picture of why we are having these increases?
Well, thank you very much. You can as well liken what is happening in the aviation industry right now to what is going on in our local markets. You know, when you go out there, how much do you buy tomato? How much do you buy pepper? How much do you buy yam? Compare with the previous years. So the same thing is going on in the aviation industry. And more, problematic in the industry is the issue of aviation fuel. Aviation fuel takes almost, if not 70% of the operational cost. And an average aircraft, like Boeing 737 maybe classic, takes almost 30 metric tons of fuel to operate, maybe Lagos, Abuja, and they must have what we call endurance fuel. That is, they must carry extra fuel that can last them for an additional 2 hours in case they have problem in the sky and they can move to alternate airports. So if you sum this together, you know the operators, they are not in the market for jamboree. They are in the market as an entrepreneur to make profit. So in analysis, market analysis to make profit, then going through the cost of fuel operation alone, in addition to other logistics, cumulative variables that they need to have to their daily operation. Talking about crew allowance, talking about landing fee, maybe at their various locations, then talking about ground handlings. These are not free meal. You need to pay for all these services. So the operators now, they don't have any other choice than to adjust the price mechanism. And that's why we've seen Abuja, Lagos, one leg, we pay as high as 250,000 naira. I was talking to a lady last night, she was giving me an account of her journey to Benin. She paid to and fro on road 50,000 naira, 25,000. But mark you, in the time pass, you can take Lagos, Benin for 18,000 naira. But it's not like that again. So the environmental factor induced by operational costs, I know it forced these new prices that we are seeing in the air transport sector. So it's becoming more realistic now, realistic to fly. So it's not going to be, even civil servant, let me tell you, civil servant cannot even afford it. Somebody that is earning maybe 300, 400,000 naira in a month cannot even afford to, to travel out of Abuja to Lagos to come and see the family. That's how bad it is now.
Okay, so you mentioned that airline operators had no other choice than to adopt this price mechanism.
Yeah.
Yes, okay, so don't you think this will lead to the grounding of the aviation sector, looking at the fact that in the past you could pay maybe at the time as much as 100 and something thousand naira to move from Lagos to Abuja, and now you are paying as high as 500, 600,000 per person to go to Abuja? Don't you think people will rather not fly, but rather drive, or ultimately abandon the trip if it's not profitable for them? Won't this lead to the grounding of the aviation sector?
No, it won't lead to grounding of the aviation sector. What will happen is that maybe the load factor will reduce. Maybe a plane that can take full load of maybe 150, 200 passengers now. What you can see now, maybe 65 passengers or even at most 70 passengers. So what will happen is that there's going to be drastic reduction in frequency of their operation. And that's why most of these days you see reschedule, cancellation of flights here and there. And mark you, the price of where you pick in Lagos is quite different from the price you pick in Kano, in Kaduna, even in Abuja, even in Port Harcourt. So all this innovation, cumulatively affect the operation of the airline. Basically, yeah, people have been taken to road, but the road too is quite expensive. But when you compare with a flight, there's a quite different. So it's a matter of taking your choice. Like, let me tell you this, whether we like it or not, people are still flying. If you have business to do in Abuja, that fetches you multi-million naira project, you need to go, you need to fly. Most so that you don't even have your private jet to do that. People are still flying, but the only that the frequency and the number of people that will be flying will really, reduce. And let me tell you this, what the operators could do now is to start looking at the brand of aircraft they can take. This time around, propeller jet aircraft will be good for this kind of business environment that we are experiencing now. Instead of flying a two-jet engine aircraft that consume more fuel than the propeller jet aircraft.
Okay, but do we have such in this country, in aviation industry? Because we see more of the big planes that, like you have said, consumes more fuel.
All right, I believe network has done the most, but as soon as we have Shukbo back, we'll definitely continue the conversation. But interesting points he has raised for airlines to look at something more economical.
Yeah, something more economical.
When it comes to the consumption of fuel, because jet fuel is still being imported, and it's a major concern. And they spend, I think, about 40% of their costs on that when it comes to jet fuel. And like you also rightly pointed, whoever is in the business to make profit.
Truly.
And then you also have other costs. Talk about spare parts for the airlines, which are also being imported. A lot of things are being imported, and so the cost, the passengers have to bear the cost as it is. Although we have an advantage of when you talk about traffic, the number of persons, 200 million Nigerians, although there are those under multidimensional poverty who can still not afford the cost of flying as it is, but then the other number can afford it. Some of them can afford it, but then it is dwindling. So I believe that's why there are those calling for government intervention to look at what government can do. We've seen other countries also coming to stabilize the system. Of course, since 2020, the aviation sector was one of those that was hardest hit by COVID-19. And there's been a struggle across the world to stabilize that sector. And we have seen countries and governments step in, to ensure some level of stability. So now they are asking government to see what it can do to stabilize that sector, because it is critical to so many other aspects of our economy.
Very, very critical, because I think maybe the government has to look into some of the taxes that these airline operations pay and grant some waivers of some sorts.
Right.
Because I attended one, I went to cover an event of fiscal town planners, fiscal planning summits, where the former governor of Lagos talked about the fact that rather than bill people when they are building apartments, why don't you reduce that rate and collect your levies from the tenement rates, which is a yearly thing, and that is sustainable. So if there's a form of rate reduction for the airline operators to cushion the effect of the economy on them, on their operations, it will trickle down as it is right now. Some airlines who do not have as much passengers will have to latch on.
Some have grounded their operations.
Some will have to move some of their passengers to other airlines so that it can measure up and they go, and it reduces costs for them. So but also it can lead to job losses.
Of course.
Some people will have to go.
So there's also the matter of collaboration, right?
Yes.
Amongst airline operators. Why are they not looking at that? Let's work together. Look at, what do you have? What do I have? How do we, merge ideas and our businesses?
It's a competition.
Yes, it's a competition, but we do not want to ground our business. True. So I know what I'm contributing to your business. You also know what you are contributing to the business, so that we know how we share profit and ensure that our business is still running at the end of the day, while we are waiting for government's intervention or whatever it is that government can do for us. That's what I am looking at. Can't there be some form of collaboration amongst airline operators?
Also, these airline operators should also look inwards, right? We might not have the parts here, but we also have people who could fix the airline.
All right, we have Shukbo back on the line. Shukbo, now this matter of airlines, one wonder how other African countries are doing it. When you look at Ethiopia Air, for instance, they are vibrant, they are everywhere. If you go to Ethiopia, you can see that it's a major sector that the government is not joking with at all. And then when you look at countries like Kenya Airways as well, you also wonder how these countries are managing it and what they are doing differently that perhaps we can learn from.
Okay, now let me tell you this. Kenya government through Kenya Airways, they have robust aviation, business and network. Any country that lacks a national carrier will be experiencing this kind of a problem we are experiencing in the nation now. Kenya Airways is a national carrier, of Kenya, with technical partner from KLM, I think. So over the years, through tourism and networking, flying across the Atlantic, coming down to Africa, they have their market in Africa and outside the Africa. So they have very good financial base. So when you have more money to run the business through this kind of networking, you can have a robust, aviation industry. But in our own situation, we lack a national carrier. National carrier will always dictate, at the tune of the market, a price mechanism. The national carrier will do that. We drive them through national carrier. They can even, speak to government about their policies that are affecting the industry, and government will listen to, because this is our own, they will listen. But now we are in a situation whereby the private operators, they are just struggling. I'm telling you, they are struggling to exist. It's not that they are making profit right now, the kind of environment we have now in the nation. So until government, even though our minister now is trying his best to make sure that the industry is moving as expected. But I want to tell you this, not until government intervene in respect of giving this airline cheaper, aviation fuel, they cannot have, sound capital base to run the business. I want to tell you, Nigerians, they want to fly. They want to fly. People prefer to fly than moving on the road, where we have problem of insecurity along the road. We've had series of, kidnapping, cases. Those who are going to Abuja within the Lokoja axis, kidnap. Lagos, Benin, kidnap. All this will not help. But where we have cheaper, airfare, People would prefer to fly. It's faster, more comfortable, it's safer than being on the road. If you are coming from Lagos or Calabar to Lagos, you spend like 12 to 15 hours. But
Right.
Lagos to Calabar is 55 minutes, you are there. So it's faster, it's cheaper. So,
Absolutely.
but what government should do, yes, what government should do is to revive these our refineries we've been talking about for years, spending money, and we are not seeing results. They should refine they should, rehabilitate.
But we have a Dangote refinery as we speak, and we have other.
Dangote refinery, the effect there is not impactful as far as I'm concerned. Everybody like you too in the studio, we are expecting that, when Dangote come on board or come on stream, everything will be cheaper. But now it's not so. What they are still giving us is being dictated by the market, international market pricing mechanism, and it's affecting us locally. So I believe that if our previous refineries, Kaduna, Port Harcourt, and the other one, we have about 3 of them.
Anyway,
if they can rehabilitate.
All right, if you can hear me, as we wait on government, although government has said it is doing a lot of work at looking at ensuring that these refineries are back on track, as we wait on government for that, are you saying that a national carrier is a solution? Because you recall the Hadvi Sirika case with regards to the national carrier and all the drama surrounding it is still a case as we speak. Are you saying that is one of the major solutions to addressing what we are facing now? And that's on the one hand. On the other hand, can airline operators also look at collaboration such that their businesses are not grounded? Is that also a solution in the mix of all of this?
Well, let me start from the last question. Over the years, we are yet to see effective collaboration among the airline operators. I remember in the previous, in the last 10 or 15 years or so, when we're talking about utilization of our bilateral air service agreement with other countries, line follow. I remember late Professor Roshade called these airline operators that they should come together and form a mega carrier to be able to compete with foreign carriers. But they were not ready because they prefer to be individualistic. That, this airline is owned by me, by Atobatele. That's what they prefer. So that one is lacking. So if that is lacking, then there is no way they can come together and do what you are suggesting now. Then let me go to the first question. The issue of national carrier is still very, very relevant. How come that a population of over 200 million, we are lacking a national carrier? It is unheard of. I don't want to talk about the previous one because it's now a legal issue now. But I want to say from my own perspective and my own experience in the industry, we need a national carrier. It's a driving force. It creates employment, and they have the platform. They will even dictate the market price in the industry. They will take the lead. I remember in those days, Nigeria Airways was our national carrier that first introduced 32 kg a piece for even two for an economic customer, a passenger in the economic class. Then 36 2 package for those in business class. Before BA and other airline now follow suit. But immediately Nigeria Airways collapsed, they resort back to 23 kg. So that informs you what a national carrier can do. I'm telling you, if you have a national carrier like this, they will always have, the platform to meet with the leadership of the nation and discuss all the minister and discuss, sir, this is what we are experiencing. What can we do for us? They will bring idea to the government, and the government will think about it. Well, this is our own baby; it must not die. So before you know it, other airline operators, the private operators, they benefit from that.
Okay.
Look at the small countries around us. They are having national. Why can't we have it? We need it, and this is the time. to have our own. But every time we keep on talking about capital flight out of the country, capital through all these foreign airlines. But if we have our own, we'll be collecting in naira. So there won't be issue of one money is locked, locked up somewhere. So it's necessary.
I am actually concerned about the issue of the national carrier, and I'm sure many Nigerians will have that share that sentiment with me because for instance, we had the Dangote refinery who everybody believed that once it comes on stream will reduce the price of fuel, and this is where we are at this point. You know, the price of fuel everywhere. There are many that also believe that when the national carrier comes on stream, it will not help in reducing the price of tickets, air tickets amongst the sector, because they will just join the bandwagon looking at the dollar rate and all of that. Where does this put the future of the aviation sector, looking at the fact that whether we have a national carrier or not, where does all of this put the future of the aviation sector?
Well, the future of aviation sector now will depend on what the incumbent government right now could do to influence changes in the system. And mark you know, everything about aviation industry is dollar quoted. Procurement, to buy the aircraft itself is not going to be naira, it's dollar. Maintenance is dollar based. Procurement of spare parts is maintenance based. If you are lucky to maintain your checks, maybe A, B, C checks, before you get to comprehensive one, which is D check, dollar quoted outside the country. So the future of the aviation industry, which is pivotal for our economic, buoyancy, because we keep on talking about foreign direct foreign investment. The investors will not come through maritime, through any shipping company or shipping line. They will not come through by road. They will fly in from Europe, from America, from Asia, from China, any part of the world. So that makes that industry very, very important. So what government can do is to study the industry, look at the issue of fuel, like I keep on saying it, and the issue of dollar. I remember, I don't want to mention, but I will mention it. During Abacha regime, Abacha came out with two segments of forex. Official was 18 naira to $1. Then unofficial 22 naira to $1. So the industry was booming that time. We have more airlines. So you can just imagine if you can come to that level. Government should do something about this this uncontrollable forex valuation. Okay. Leaving it to market to be determining it, and now we are talking 1,700. So all this will affect the future of aviation industry. So if you tackle the issue of naira value against dollar, then it will go well for the industry. But as long as naira is falling against the almighty dollar, it keep on affect not only the aviation industry, but I'm talking about the aviation industry now. It will keep on, before you know it. Some airlines that we are celebrating today, you may not see them because before you know it, if you have 10 aircraft on your fleet, if this is not checked, before you know it, within the next 2 or 3 years, someone that has 10 aircraft may reduce to 4 because of operational costs.
Okay, so talking about operational cost and the fears of job losses and all of that, how can, at this point in the interim, how can government, what can be done to reduce cost in the aviation industry?
Exactly. So what government can do, you know, I mentioned the late head of state. What government can do, number one, give these airlines a kind of tax holiday. Give them tax holiday, 5 years. You know, delete them from all this taxation here and there, so that they can use the money that's supposed to have gone to government in form of taxation. They can use it to maintain the aircraft. They can use it to sustain the workforce, so that nobody will lose job. Very, very important. That they can just, point one. Then two, this one is national. Those who are managing our finance, those who are managing the economy, they should think how to make the Naira strong. If Naira continues to fall, like I said, somebody that has 10 aircraft today, if this money continues, if it doesn't get, somebody said the aim is to get to 2,000. If it continues that way, somebody with 10 aircraft, within the next 2 years, before you know it, because he will not be able to maintain 3, 4 aircraft at a time, looking at the cost in dollar, in millions of dollars, then 10 will reduce to 4. Before you know it, 2 and to 0. So to avoid that, we need to strengthen the Naira. Then we need to intervene. Although people have been talking about so many funds that have been given to the sector in form of intervention, I don't know, maybe this around the mechanism can change if they want to support that industry with any kind of fund, so that the airline can be sustained and we can record, a lot of growth in that industry. That industry, apart from talking about flying people up and down, what about tourism? What about tourism? It's a very big sector. So a tourist coming to Nigeria won't come by road, like I said, won't come by sea. He will come by air. But how stable is that air? And now, if we continue this way, it will get to a point that most of the operators, they won't be able to raise funds to maintain the aircraft. And unhealthy aircraft cannot be permitted to fly in the sky. NCA will not allow that, because they have the record of maintenance of this aircraft. Once you are due for certain maintenance, you can't fly. So if you begin to record 1, 2, 3 aircraft that can't fly, then what do you have? So that is danger inherent in this harsh operational environment of the airline.
All right.
Government, I believe our minister is listening to us this morning. Government should continue to intervene, assist this airline, especially like from the area of where
our time is up, unfortunately. I know there's so much you have to say as an expert in the industry, but we must thank you. Shukbo Atobatele, former GM, Public Affairs, Nigeria Airspace Management Agency, and publisher of Air Transport Quarterly Magazine. Thank you for your time on the program.
Thank you very much.
Right. Still ahead on TVC Breakfast, Sanu Nasu goes on indefinite strike over unpaid salaries.